Whoa. Hidden secret about Ibrahim Traoré has been revealed. Meet Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the 37-year-old interim president of Burkina Faso, who has been making waves in West African politics since seizing power in a coup d'etat in September 2022. With a background in geology and military training, Traoré rose through the ranks to become one of the youngest heads of state in the world. Let's dive into his story, from his early days as a quiet and talented student to his current role as a wartime leader shaping Burkina Faso's future. Key highlights: early life, born on March 14, 1988, in Kera, Bondakai, Mahoun Province. Education: studied geology at the University of Ouagadougou, graduating with honors. Military career: joined the Army of Burkina Faso in 2009, underwent anti-aircraft training in Morocco, and participated in peacekeeping missions in Mali. Rise to power: led a coup d'etat in September 2022, ousting interim President Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba. Presidency: focused on combating jihadist insurgency, strengthening national security, and distancing Burkina Faso from France while forging ties with Russia. Join us as we explore the life and leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, a young and ambitious leader navigating the complexities of West African politics. Before we dive into this interesting topic, welcome back to my channel, where we turn whispers of everyday life into inspiring stories of hope, joy, and resilience. Inspired by real-world events, we craft narratives that illuminate the power of the human spirit, celebrate small victories, and remind us of the light even in challenging times. Click on the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell to hear stories that uplift, encourage, and fill your heart with optimism. Ibrahim Traoré, born on the 14th of March 1988, is a Burkinabé military officer and politician who has served as the interim president of Burkina Faso since 2022. He took control of the country in September 2022 by ousting interim president Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba in a coup d'etat. At the age of 37, Traoré is currently the second youngest head of state in the world. During his tenure, he has aimed to distance Burkina Faso from its former colonial power, France, and played a significant role in founding the Alliance of Sahel States. Born in Kera, Bondakai, Mahoun Province, Traoré received his primary education in Bondakai, before attending high school in Bobo-Dioulasso, Burkina Faso's second-largest city. He was known for being quiet and very talented. In 2006, he began studying geology at the University of Ouagadougou, where he was part of the Association of Muslim Students and the Marxist Association Nationale des Étudiants du Burkina ANEB. In the latter, he rose to the position of delegate and gained recognition for defending his classmates in disputes. Traoré graduated from the university with honors. Military career: Traoré joined the Army of Burkina Faso in 2009 and graduated from the Georges de Molino Military Academy. He underwent anti-aircraft training in Morocco before being transferred to an infantry unit in Kaya, a town in northern Burkina Faso. Promoted to lieutenant in 2014, Traoré joined MINUSMA, a United Nations peacekeeping mission involved in the Mali War. In 2018, he was recognized as one of the MINUSMA soldiers who showed courage during significant rebel attacks in the Tombouctou region. After returning to Burkina Faso, he assisted in operations against the growing jihadist insurgency, participating in battles at Djibo, the Otapuano offensive in 2019, and various other counterinsurgency operations in the north. He was promoted to captain in 2020. During this time, Traoré expressed disillusionment with his country's leadership, noting the widespread lack of equipment for Burkinabé soldiers while politicians were allegedly distributing suitcases of money for bribery. He gradually became the spokesperson for soldiers stationed in the north who were frustrated with their government. Rise to power: Traoré was part of the group of army officers that supported the January 2022 coup d'etat in Burkina Faso, which led the patriotic movement for safeguard and restoration military junta to power. From March 2022, he served as the head of an artillery regiment in Kaya. There is some debate regarding his association with the Cobra Special Forces, a counter-terrorist unit founded in 2019, while some sources, including the BBC, Al Jazeera, and Die Tagesschau, report that he was part of the unit at some point. The news magazine Jeune Afrique states that he was never involved with the Cobras. Many supporters of the January coup grew dissatisfied with Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba's leadership due to his inability to contain the jihadist insurgency. Traoré later indicated that he and other officers had attempted to persuade Damiba to refocus on the rebellion, but eventually decided to overthrow him, feeling that his ambitions were diverting away from what we set out to do. Dissatisfaction was particularly high among younger officers engaged in frontline combat against the rebels, compounded by delays in pay for the Cobra troops when the coup plotters launched their operation. On the 30th of September 2022, Traoré still held the rank of captain. The coup was carried out with the support of the Cobra unit. Following the coup, Traoré was chosen as the new head of the Patriotic Movement for Safeguard and Restoration. On the 6th of October, he also assumed the role of interim president as head of state, supreme head of the armed forces, promising initially to hold democratic elections in July 2024. His presidency, consolidation of power. As president, Traoré has maintained the enigmatic and formal demeanor that characterized him before assuming power. He maintains tight control over his communications and carefully presents himself primarily as a wartime leader. His presidency has seen an increase in pro-government propaganda across Burkinabe traditional media and social media platforms. According to Le Monde journalist Sophie Douce, Traoré is influenced by Marxism and Pan-Africanism. In April 2023, he declared a general mobilization of the population to support the military as rebel forces intensified their attacks. Traoré publicly pledged to reconquer all areas held by rebels and insisted that negotiations would not take place until the insurgency was significantly weakened. The following month, he raised questions about the planned restoration of democracy scheduled for 2024, stating that elections could not occur unless the insurgents were pushed back and the security situation improved. This statement marked a departure from the promise he made in October 2022 during negotiations for the formal resignation of his predecessor, Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba. Traoré had agreed to honor Damiba's commitment to the Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS to restore civilian rule in Burkina Faso within 2 years. On September 26, 2023, discontented elements of the military attempted to overthrow Traoré, but were unsuccessful. National consultations were held on May 25 and 26, 2024, to discuss the future of the transition in Burkina Faso. While representatives from civil society participated, most political parties boycotted the consultations. As a result, Traoré's mandate was extended for an additional 5 years, allowing him to contest the next presidential elections. On December 6, 2024, Traoré dissolved his government and dismissed Prime Minister de Tombala. Gold and general mining sector developments. In November 2023, Burkina Faso's Council of Ministers approved the construction of the country's first gold refinery. This significant development aims to leverage the nation's growing gold mining industry. Traoré seeks to gain more control over gold resources by refining gold domestically rather than exporting unrefined materials. This initiative is expected to increase government revenue and enhance economic benefits from the gold sector. The refinery is projected to create 100 direct jobs and 5,000 indirect jobs, producing approximately 400 kilograms of gold daily. In February 2024, Traoré ordered the suspension of export permits for small-scale private gold production. This move is reportedly aimed at combating illicit trade, which includes smuggling gold abroad to evade taxes and regulations, and cleaning up the artisanal gold sector. The suspension is intended to ensure that exported gold is properly documented and contributes to government revenue, ultimately establishing a more formal and accountable system for exporting small-scale gold production. Foreign relations shift from France to Russia. In February 2023, Traoré's government expelled French forces assisting in the fight against local insurgents. He subsequently declared that Burkina Faso aimed to look at other horizons to establish win-win partnerships, supporting the diversification of the country's international alliances. Shortly thereafter, Traoré expressed support for a potential federation with Mali, inviting Guinea to join. All 3 countries are currently under military leadership, and if they were to unite, they would create the largest nation governed by a military junta. To replace French military support, Traoré forged closer ties with Turkey and Russia. According to reports from Reuters and the New York Times, Traoré was suspected of having connections with the Russian mercenary organization Wagner Group because of his anti-French and pro-Russian sentiments. As Traoré entered Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, supporters cheered, some waving Russian flags. the government of Ghana publicly accused Traoré of collaborating with the Wagner Group following the coup, ALLEGEDLY enlisting their services against jihadist rebels. Traoré denied these claims, stating that our Wagner is the VDP, referring to the Volunteers for the Defense of the Homeland. On July 29, 2023, following the Russia-Africa summit, Traoré stated that the people of Burkina Faso support Russia and confirmed the decision to reopen the Russian embassy, which had been closed since 1992, according to Le Monde in May 2023. The Traoré regime seems, for the time being, to be favoring the use of its own forces in the fight against the jihadists, and has not sought assistance from Russian forces. Russian troops, including those from the Wagner Group, were eventually deployed to Burkina Faso in January 2024.